the ring, but you take a look at some of the names, the early knockouts. White Muhammad Qawi, the biggest name, but he was 222 pounds for that fight. J.B. Williamson was out for a couple of years, and that was the last fight for George Foreman. But you think back to George Foreman before he fought Joe Frazier for the title. He had won his first 41 fights, but these are the 17 fights before Frazier. Chevalo a name, Boone Kirkman, but you take a look at some of the others, all the early knockouts, nothing different for George Foreman then and now. Tail of the tape, George says he's 40. Ring record book says it's 41. 6'3" to Cooper's 5'11". And the weight difference, 42 pounds. George Foreman's reach, that is estimated. He would not allow us to take his reach, but when he fought Ali, who was 81 inches, word was it was an inch difference in the reach in that fight. So we don't think he's grown or shrunk since that time. We are ready to go. The serious face on George Foreman. We have not seen that kind of look on the face of Foreman in the previous 17 fights. We're ready for the introductions. Here's our ring announcer, Jack Budd.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout is the main event of the evening and is scheduled for 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. Your referee from Phoenix, Arizona, Al Munoz. Introducing the principals. First of all, in the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the white trim, he weighed in today at 211 pounds, fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with a professional record of 20 wins, 4 losses, 17 big knockouts, smoking Bert Cooper. His opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with the blue trim. He weighed in at 253 pounds, from Marshall, Texas, with a professional record of 62 wins, 2 defeats, 59 big knockouts. Here is the former heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman. Our referee, Al Munoz, with the instructions.
And Sean O'Grady taking a closer look at this fight. Sean and the blackboard.
Well, for Foreman, he's got to speed up against the lighter Cooper. He's got to use his uppercuts because Cooper is shorter than he is. For Cooper, he's got to keep his hands high early, not get caught with those big shots, move side to side, and move his head.
All right, the tips from Sean O'Grady. Bert Cooper in the black trunks in 1973 when Foreman beat Joe Frazier in 2 rounds. Cooper at that time was 7 years old and in the second grade, and he has basically grown up under the tutelage of Joe Frazier. He said Joe really hadn't given any suggestions, but perhaps watch the tapes of Frazier's fight to know what not to do, and what not to do is to stand in front of George Foreman. So Cooper will be on the move, we expect. He's not going to stay in front of George, and he feels that the speed could make the difference. As Foreman, Sean, will look to cut off the ring on Cooper.
Well, this ring is fast. There's not much padding underneath, and it's only 17 foot inside the ropes. That would have to favor somebody like Foreman, a big man who can move side to side.
And can punch, and he's going after Cooper here in the first. Cooper backpedaling, certainly showing great respect for the punching power of Foreman.
And Cooper realizes that he's got to get into the last few rounds of this fight. He's got to get past 3, is what he said.
He wants to take Foreman into the later rounds. Foreman in 62 victories and 2 defeats, 64 fights, has gone the distance only 4 times. He hasn't had to. And now Cooper inside and out. Foreman coming back.
We have seen Big George hurt on a couple of occasions in the first few rounds when he fought Ladislao Mijangas and also Jose Hernandez.
Cooper won the NABF Cruiserweight title in June of '86 with a 12-round decision over Olympic gold medalist Henry Tillman. He had a few defenses. Then he went up to the heavyweights and went up to Canada and destroyed Canadian Olympian Doug DeWitt in 2 rounds. And Cooper then was a hot item. Matter of fact, that fight was in February of '87, just a month before Foreman came out of retirement, and at that time, Cooper, they were talking about him as a future opponent for Tyson. But then in June of '87, TKO'd in the 8th by Carl Williams, and he said it was the jab of Williams who just cut him around the lip, that Williams was just too tall and too quick. He knows he's going to see the jab from Foreman.
Yeah, he said that jab was just too fast from Carl Williams. He said Foreman's got a good jab, too. I brought it up that Foreman's got an excellent jab, but he says Foreman's jab is too slow and ain't going to hit me.
Nate Miller losing the North American Boxing Federation Cruiserweight title in February, and he is rocked by Foreman.
And that was a body blow, a sweeping right hand to the body on Cooper. Devastating blow right on the short rib. Right there.
And now he's standing right in front of Foreman. Under 15 seconds left in the first round.
When you get hit with shots like that, it locks your legs and you can't move. That's why Bert Cooper is not moving away from Foreman.
As we pause for our local cable systems.
The power of George Foreman, that sweeping right hand that caught Bert Cooper right on that short rib over on the left side of your body.
George, who could just punch through an opponent. George not too happy about things at the weigh-in this morning early at 7 a.m. He was kept up most of the night. His 18-month-old son has had the virus and was up most of the night, as was George. So he had not gotten much sleep before tonight's fight. Figured he'd get a few hours this afternoon.
And that's a man you don't want mad at you. You were asking me today, Al, about that crisscross defense that Bert Cooper is using in there. He's crossing his hands out in front of his face. For straight punchers, that's effective, but a puncher like Foreman, who goes around on the outside with those sweeping right hands, those hurt. Right there, he's bringing his right hand over in front of his face. Oh, that punch hurt.
And Cooper unable to get away from Foreman. A big problem for Cooper here tonight, Sean, as we had alluded to before. We have not seen Foreman as serious in any of his fights as we had here tonight.
And he was very worried about this fight. Now, Cooper, if you get hit underneath that left arm, you're going to start dropping that left arm to try to protect that rib. When he does, that's when Foreman's going to try to nail him. A couple of good shots by Bert Cooper. Foreman will then come upstairs. Foreman concentrating wisely on the body here in the second round.
When asked before the fight, when George was asked if Cooper is the best opponent he's faced in the comeback, George answered, "If I said yes, will it sell tickets?" So George not feeling that Cooper will derail him, and George really bringing out the heavy artillery.
Cooper can't stand in there against those shots. Cooper's got to move his head and then go in on the angles like he said he was going to do. He's trying to get on the angle of Foreman, but he can't make it inside that offensive of Foreman. Let's go. But Cooper realizes he has to just bide his time, let Foreman shoot those big punches and try to get into those later rounds. But he's got to stay away from those big shots of Foreman.
Cooper grew up under the tutelage of Joe Frazier in Philly. And if you take you back to 1973, when Foreman won the championship against Frazier, he had Frazier down 3 times in the first, 3 times in the second, 6 times in all. And you could be sure Bert Cooper did not want to follow that same strategy of coming in on Foreman, but he has found here that sometimes there's nowhere to go.
Right, and then they fought again in June 15th of '76, Uniondale, New York, when Foreman stopped Frazier in 5.
Foreman said he changed his strategy then. He stayed away, and he lasted 3 more rounds. While hearing of George Foreman, Bert Cooper has felt his wrath through 2 rounds.
And he is feeling that power, the big right hand by George Foreman. He set that up with the left jab.
Bert Cooper not coming out for the 3rd round. It is over. George Foreman, TKO. Bert Cooper taking the shots in the first 2. And will not come out for the 3rd. What a surprise. The crowd booing Bert Cooper as he has given a no mas after 2 rounds. crowds taking the heavy body blows of George Foreman. And you could hear the crowd reaction.
Cooper tasted the power of Foreman, and he wanted no part of George Foreman.
And the crowd chanting George Foreman, who tonight upped the level a bit, hearing so much about Bert Cooper being his biggest test. In the end, it certainly was not the case. Let's take a look at some of the shots in the second round. George Foreman.
Boom, that big right hand is what took all the steam out of Bert Cooper.
And the so-called speed of Bert Cooper never an effect in this fight. And George now playing for the crowd. I want Tyson.